How you doing, folks? Joe Youngblood here from Souderton High School Gymnasium after the quarterfinals have concluded in our first night of wrestling here at the Southeast Region Tournament. A lot of great wrestling this first night, some big upsets. We're going to talk about it all. We're going to recap a little bit what happened and preview what we're going to see tomorrow in the semifinals. Right out of the gate, at 106 pounds, you have Brandon Meredith with the upset over Doug Zaff in the quarterfinal, setting up a semifinal rematch. Probably the third time they're wrestling this year between Brandon Meredith and Ryan Resnick, who had 2 wins to advance to the semifinals as well. A tech fall, 2 tech falls en route to the semis. Upset of the night, one of the upsets of the night that, in my opinion, Lucas Ritchie from Downtown East with the fall over Matt Wild. It was a tight match going into it, and Wild goes in for a shot, and Ritchie puts him to his back and gets the fall. And again, it's not a surprise, but the newly anointed #1 ranked wrestler in the region goes down in the quarterfinals, and he has to take the long road back to get to Hershey in first attempt. It's really going to set up some interesting matchups coming through that wrestle background, especially if the loser of Meredith and Resnick is going to have to wrestle probably Wild to go to states. And whereas I think I had predicted 3 Pac-10 guys representing the District 1 in at states, now looks like it will only be 2, at best 2, I should say. The other one, Tyler Williams, tough freshman from Souderton, again living up to the billing and the 2 seed that he earned this year. Before going further on, kind of jumping around here, I do want to make light of and recognize 2 wrestlers who earned their 100th win tonight. First one being James Stromer, senior from Downtown East, getting his 100th win with a win in the quarterfinals. And the other being junior Matt Parker, with his win in the quarterfinals, gave him his 100th win as well. Lucas Miller's win in the quarterfinals gave him his 150th for his career. Senior from Boyertown, returning 5th place at state tournament from last year. Again, talking about some other upsets tonight, and we'll get to the 152-pound bracket, but before we get there, just talking about Tanner Sizlov, the senior from Quakertown, with the upset over Hunter Vogels from Boyertown, junior Hunter Vogels, in the quarterfinals in a tight match. Sizlov getting the escape with time running out to secure the win for himself. And before we talk about some of the other matches in the semifinals, we're going to talk about some guys that wrestled well tonight that shouldn't go unnoticed. Jacob Reed from Westchester Henderson looked very good tonight. Looking to see him progress through his tournament and potentially get his first trip to Hershey. JT Cooley, he was sitting in the 4th seed, wrestled a tough Nick Zimmerman. I think I might even had picked Zimmerman beating him, but Cooley came out and just manhandled Nick Zimmerman. I was shocked standing there Matt's side seeing it, that he was able to just have his way with him and route to pinning him. So it was something that I don't think anyone saw coming. I think we saw a close match there. One, it was going to be exciting because 2 guys that go a lot, and Cooley just turned it up a notch, and I guess that Boyertown team peaking at the right time. Surprise of the tournament, probably Abraham Charles from Penwood, in my opinion. He had a win over Nick Kriebel, who again I believe I had Nick Kriebel winning that match, and then he turned around and won again in the quarterfinals over Colin Devlin from Upper Dublin. And again, I said it in my preview. All I ever done is picked against Colin Devlin. All he has done is win, and then I pick him to win, and he turns around and loses. But again, Abraham Charles is a very, very, very tough wrestler at Penwood. And talking with some of the coaches tonight, we talk about how Penwood, as a team, struggles year in and year out, but they always end up finding that 1 guy, 2 guys that kind of sneak under the radar and find their way to regionals and make some noise. Lucas Martaccio, finishing 4th last week in his district tournament, coming out with 2 pins to put himself in the semis today, or semis tomorrow rather. Again, very impressed, with his wrestling today. And Bryce Reddington with win in the first round and a win in the quarters against Dustin Stone from Harriet Truman. Again, picked against Truman guys earlier in the tournaments, and question schedule, question room, question things like that. And Stone wins the district after winning that tough section, or that tough league tournament at that weight, and turns around and Bryce Reddington from Methacton sneaks up and takes him out. Gotta give credit to first name, I believe it's Kyle. or no, I'm sorry, Andrew DiBernardo from Westchester East. Again, another freshman at 152 pounds. Not exactly an easy weight class for a freshman to come in and find success, but he has. And, it was in a tight match with Mike Lockhoff, a senior from Upper Perk, in the quarterfinals, and DiBernardo got on top. And I talked about in the preview again, and from what I've seen, real tough kid on top, and it's exactly what he did. He got on top, and he turned him several times, and took over that match in the third period and put himself in the semis here tomorrow. I talked about Tanner Sizov, winning 2 matches, including one of Vogel's to get himself in the semis. Stephen Rice continues to be on a tear for Springford. He just looked good in his quarterfinal match, and he's made that level change, and that loss to Elijah Jones in the dual meet earlier in the year seemed to have sparked him. Like I said, we talked about ailing injuries with the hand and stuff like that, but since then he's been a house on fire and just really dominating kids. And I still stand by my pick for him to be the regional champ because Josh Shalinsky, for all intents and purposes, I'm not sure if he's 100%, had to get a takedown late against Liam Frank to get himself into quarterfinals. And, so just real quick, that's just kind of, some of the things that happened tonight. I'm going to preview the semifinals right now and then just give you a little overview and give you a little opinion on that. And we'll call it a night here. It's a little bit after 10 o'clock, and we'll have this up in the morning. So, again, at 106 pounds, you have Brandon Meredith and Ryan Resnick wrestling. Lucas Resnick wrestling. Again, Meredith's gotten the best of them, but I'm going to say Resnick's going to punch his ticket to Hershey, make the regional final. And again, I've talked about beating a guy 3 times in one season. This is one of those situations where it is tough to beat a guy for a third time. So I'm going to go ahead and say Resnick with the win because he was very impressive tonight. Then Richie and Tyler Williams in the other semifinal match. I'm going to go with Tyler Williams in that one. Again, the freshman has been very, very impressive. So has Lucas Richie, but I'm gonna go with the Souderton guy here. I like what I saw of the Souderton tonight. Tristan Boyd has got those lighter weights wrestling tough. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Souderton Indian on that one. 113 pounds. We're going to see 3 of the top kids in the state, not just the region, in this semifinal round. Jacob Campbell and Aiden Burke. Neither one was overly impressive in their quarterfinal matches. Both, slowed down and didn't really wrestle and open up their offense. And I'm going to still stand by Campbell in this one, in a close one, probably like a 1-point match, I'd say. It's going to be a very, slow him down, drag him out type of match. And then we have James Stromer, senior from Downtown East, who just earned his hunter's win against Matt Parker. And Parker's just at a different level. I'm going to go with Parker and have a Campbell-Parker final. 120 pounds, Matt Marino, made me look good today. I had him beating counter. I had him beating Gunnar Foos from Harry S. Truman, and he came through on that. And then he's going to face off against David Campbell, who beat Jake Taylor in the quarterfinal. Taylor had an injury default. I hope it's not too bad. I hope we see him back here tomorrow, trying to earn their trip to Hershey. And in the other semifinal, Brandon Sheffield is the real deal. Had a good match, a very dominating match over Brandon Bach from Souderton. And in the other last semifinals is Hunter Mitch, coming off a Outstanding Wrestler Award of the District 1 West Tournament. Sheffield was the Outstanding Wrestler at the Central. So it should be an interesting match. It was talked about on the forum today, and I agree. Mitch, maybe the only way Hunter Mitch gets to states is if he makes it to the final, because this wrestleback, even without Taylor, is still going to be really tough. And I'm going to take Marino over Campbell to get to the final for the Mitch Marino matchup, a rematch of last week's semifinal in which Hunter Mitch won. Moving on to 126 pounds, Wade Cummings wrestling Kerry Palmer. I got Wade Cummings and winning by bonus points. He's just on a different level, and it's just just the facts. And then big matchup again, 2 top wrestlers and state retained guys. Both guys were at Hershey last year. Miller again on the podium. Lucas Miller and Cordell Rush. Neither one was very impressive in their quarterfinal match. So maybe a good night's rest will help them out and maybe it'll look better. But again, the wrestleback coming through this weight class is going to be tough as well. You have Noah Hankin lurking in the wrestlebacks. You have Dan Mancini lurking in the wrestlebacks, and Connor Joyce, Drew Massetti. They're no one to be overlooked. I have Cummings and Miller in the final, with Cummings being our champ here from this region. 132 pounds, Zach Trampay, Ryan Resnick in the top half in the semifinals. Ryan Vulak off a big win over Garrett Mager, the West champ from a week ago, and Kyle Medro from Westchester Henderson. Trampay, again, different level from Ryan Resnick right now. I'm going to go against Resnick probably for the first time this postseason, and I have Ryan Vulak winning over Kyle Medro to set up another final rematch from last week in the East, run by Trampay. But again, going to wrestle back, you're going to have Resnick, you're going to have Medro, you're going to have Mager. You're going to also have guys that run in the first round, like Politi, returning state qualifier, Evan Whiting from Penridge. So again, the way back is not easy any way, shape, or form for these guys who may lose in the semis. Going 138 pounds, a rematch from the semifinal, I believe, at Escape the Rock between Riley Palmer and JT Cooley. Again, I think Riley Palmer just on another level. Talked about the mission he's on this year after disappointment last year. I think you see Palmer winning there. And then you have Abraham Charles in a match with Colin Cronin, undefeated, and one of the top-ranked wrestlers in the state. And, it's going to be Cronin, or Charles is in over his head on this one. Cronin's going to, I really think, win by bonus points. At 145 pounds, we have Bryce Reddington, the junior, with the upset over Dustin Stone, and wrestling Lucas Martaccio. This match, you can flip a coin. It's going to be two guys that really get after it. Martaccio to quick pins, big cradle guy, and Reddington just a guy who just keeps lurking, keeps coming at you, stays in your face, and doesn't back down. So this one, I don't know. I'm going to go with tough one here. I'm going to go Martaccio. He's just been, just body of work for the season. I'm going to go with Martaccio on this one. And in the bottom half, we have Eric Thomas and Brian Wise. And all I've done is pick against Brian Wise, and all he's done is made me, look bad. And so I'm going to say I'm all in with Brian Wise to, punch his ticket to Hershey again for the third time and make it to the regional final. Again, look at the wrestleback. You have Eric Thomas in the wrestlebacks. You have Dan Labus in the wrestlebacks. Chris Berry, Mikey O'Brien had a close match with Brian Wise, who I picked Mikey O'Brien to make the regional final. Unfortunately, I was wrong on that. And then you have Dustin Stone lurking there. So you have a lot of tough guys. Very deep weight class for us here in District 1. 152 pounds, our semifinalist, Andrew DiBernardo with the upset win to get there, and he's going to run into a buzzsaw and Dylan Schwartz. Schwartz just on another level, the senior and freshman. I don't think it's going to be close. I'm going to see Schwartz winning by bonus points. Then in the other semifinal, Chase Stevens, and I predicted Stevens Vogels to be a very entertaining semifinal. I think I may have offended Tanner Sizlov. With that said, now we have Stevens Sizlov, and I think it's going to be a very close match. Sizlov probably has a brimming with confidence after that big win over Vogels, but I'm going to still go with Chase Stevens and put him in the finals against Schwartz, and I'm still going to stand by Schwartz with the win. But the wrestlebacks, Max Livington, Jude McDowell, Conan Shannon, and Hunter Vogels all in that wrestleback bracket now. 160 pounds. This is Josh Stilling's weight class to lose, hands down. He's got Alec Horn in the semis. He's beaten him once this year when he bumped to 170 to wrestle him at District Duels. Now that Horn is down at his weight, I expect bonus points from Stillings. And the other side of the bracket, David Cox, who's been next unstoppable this year, wrestling Dan Iredale. Iredale still undefeated. Again, all I've done is picked against Iredale. I cited schedule, I cited room as to reasons why, and all he does is win and advance to semis. But I think this is where he suffers his first loss this season. And Cox just wrestling much better, and tough matchup for him. But then lurking in you have Michael Felix, you have Luke Eli, Sadiq Ibn Mustafa from Pottstown's been wrestling tough. So there's and Thomas Michaels, you can't count him out from Souderton either, as guys are going to come through these wrestlebacks and cause a lot of problems for everyone. 170 pounds, you have Shalinsky and Jones from Boyertown, Shalinsky from Rock North. I'm going to go Shalinsky again. He's been there, a little bit more experience, but was not impressed with his performance in the semis. Hopefully, he looks better tomorrow. And then the other semifinal, Coles Knapp and Stephen Rice. Again, Stephen Rice just on a mission as well, wrestling another level. I think he's going to be too much for Coles Knapp, and he's going to make himself in the regional final. I think Stephen Rice will beat Shalinsky in the final of regions to be a champ. But then, you look at the wrestlebacks, Zaff Jones will drop down there. Liam Frank looked much better today than he did at the West tournament. Subak, Isaiah Mays from Pottstown as well, looking tough this weekend as well. 182 pounds. Gentile Gentili. Sorry, it was a little bit point of emphasis tonight is that the pronunciation of Kyle Gentili's name. Gentili wrestling Nick Douliakis from O&J in the semis. Again, this is one of those instances where two different level wrestlers. Douliakis just not there. He's in that second tier guy. He's here at 182 pounds. Gentili would I think is going to win by bonus points. And then on the other half of the semifinals, you have Kostas Hatzipavlidis from Westchester Ruston and Greg Harvey. This is an intriguing matchup. Hatzipavlidis is a tough wrestler, probably toughest guy that Harvey will have wrestled this postseason. I predict that Harvey will win, but it'll be closer than people think. Hatzipavlidis I think will be difficult for him to score on. We'll close to match him on his feet, but again Harvey, that's one of his strong points, and so we'll see what happens. And I think again I'm going to go with Gentili to win the region title, because until Harvey proves me wrong otherwise, I got to go with Gentili. And but then you look back to wrestlebacks, I think it'll end up being Douliakis and Hatzipavlidis wrestling for third and fourth, just the way I think the bracket will fall. But you can't count on Nick Bonomo, and again, Tyler Getman's no easy out from Rock South. He gave Harvey a little bit of trouble there early on in their match. His athleticism and his ability to score from his feet gives guys a lot of fits, and the speed that he presents in a match. Moving on, 195 pounds, we have a rematch in one semifinal between Joe Doyle and Xavier Frizzi. Joe Doyle from Counts Rock South, Xavier Frizzi from O&J Roberts. They wrestled in the district duels, with Doyle winning a 1-0 match. Doyle looked good today. Frizzi looked good as well. Had a little bit of trouble with Keishon Gamo from Abington, as I thought he would. I thought the athleticism of him would cause problems, but then Frizzi just turned it up against Eric Assemeyer and pinning him in the second period in the quarterfinals. The other half of the semifinal bracket is Brian Kennerly. Had a little bit of trouble. Andrew Reinhold, his pace of the match gave Kennerly a little bit of trouble, and then Patrick Walker, very unassuming, and it's my first time seeing Patrick Walker, very unassuming but super tough kid from the Upper Moreland program. I'm still going to go with Kennerly and Doyle in the finals, and lurking the wrestlebacks, like I said, you have Reinhold, again a guy who can just go, and O'Connell from Boyertown's another guy, and you can't count out Billy Brower from Upper Perk either. So there's just not a lot of depth, but there's some tough kids here that could present problems for in those wrestleback rounds coming through. 220 pounds, the weight class. That's what's left after Jordan Wood's gone. Gavin Caroff advanced to the semifinals with a win over Zach Davis from Oxford. It was a close match. It was over. Not positive on who he beat, but it wasn't an overly impressive performance on his part. Michael Madugno from Upper Perk is his opponent. I think that'll be a pretty good match. I'm going to give Caroff the nod on that to win. Cade Lamar continued to impress me with his performance, beating Jason Spear from Ben Salem, and Isaiah Spriggs with the fall over Danny Maya from Interborough. I'm going to still say Caroff and Spriggs in the final, with Spriggs being the champ. This is a weight class that doesn't have a lot of depth here as far as top end talent like some of the others do in District 1. So you can flip a coin, you can throw darts at whoever could be the other two coming out. Just off the top of my head, I'm going to say Lamar and Morris from Downingtown East are two other representatives from the Southeast. And finally, last but not least, the heavyweights. Some great semifinals here in the heavyweight or 285-pound weight class. I'm sorry, didn't mean to offend anyone. Bruce Graber and Peter Augustin. It's a rematch from the final of the Governor Mifflin Holiday Tournament, I believe, won by Augustin 2-1 or 3-2, something to that effect. I'm going to go with Graber here. I just think he's on their level, and I think he's wrestling a lot better than he was at that point in time, and he hasn't lost a match since. Augustin had some trouble with Quincy Williams going down to the wire from Plymouth Whitemarsh. And on the other semifinal, you have Vincent Walls from Avon Grove, who wrestled all of 15 seconds tonight, and Tommy Killeran, who also had a quick fall over John Anderson, not a quick fall, but had a fall over John Anderson from Counts Rock South. I'm going to go with Killeran, stick with him, and stick with Killeran to win the region here. But rounding out our top four, I think it will be Augustin and Walls being the other two representatives now. I think I had Chapman in there from Hapa or Horsham off the top of my head, but or Quincy Williams. We haven't heard the last of Quincy Williams, and I could be wrong. So, folks, that's just a quick recap and preview of what you're going to see. do want to say I do thank the people who made the point to come up and talk to me tonight and make light of and recognize what we do here at PAWrestling.com. You just see what's on this side of the camera. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes in, and again, if you don't know who Mike Leiser is, you should give him some thanks too. He runs a first-class website, and as a fan myself, I do really appreciate all the work that he does, and I appreciate the fact that he allows me to come on here and help promote the sport some more. So again, if you are in the area or you're thinking about coming out and seeing some matches, semifinal wrestling starts at 9:30. First round constellations. They're slated to start between 11 and 11:30 for the semifinals. Some great semifinal matches. The finals will start tomorrow, sometime after 6 p.m. after Hall of Fame inductions. Come on down to Souderton. Beautiful gym, beautiful facility, top notch as far as how it's being run. Can't say enough and good things about it. Come out and see some great wrestling here in the Southeast PA and see the top wrestlers we have in the area, in the region, and see them punch their tickets to states in this postseason run that they're making. So with that said, it's Joe Youngblood signing off here from PAWrestling.com. Thank you.